to re-establish a connection there. Very soon we're going to hear from the Premier, David Makhura, with regards to the latest regarding the SIU investigations. I understand he is currently addressing the media. Let's go there now live.
One is, as the infection rate or the spread of coronavirus gets under control, it gives us an opportunity to open up the economy. That's one of the very strong issues that arise from this, is that our economy, like many economies across the world, has been severely impacted by COVID-19. We have looked at the data released by Stats SA and then drilled down to what that data means for the Gauteng economy. I think you may remember that we modeled, when we were modeling our response to COVID-19, we also modeled the impact of COVID-19, or the likely impact of COVID-19 on the Gauteng economy. So our projection was that in the best case scenario, the Gauteng economy was going to lose over 700,000 jobs. What is the reality? Is that our economy has lost 661,000 jobs. So of the 2.2 million jobs lost in Q2 by the South African economy, 661,000 of those are coming out of the Gauteng economy. This is the slide that talks about the full impact. So you would see that at the beginning of COVID-19, or just prior to COVID-19, at the beginning of this year, 2020, there were 5.1 million people employed in the Gauteng economy. And as we speak now, there are 4.5 million people employed in the Gauteng economy. That's bringing us to the loss of 661,000 jobs. This is really been bad, just in one quarter. Unless we do certain things and we use particularly the next few months, leading up to the end of the financial year, which is March next year, that projected number, we had said in the best case scenario in our modeling, the Gauteng economy could lose between 700,000 to 1.5 million jobs. That's when we did the modeling. It was in April when we did those numbers. We shared them with you here in the command center. As we speak now, 661,000 jobs have been lost. By the end of the financial year, if the situation becomes the same, and it can't be the same. You remember we went through level 5, which was a full lockdown of the economy, level 4, fewer sectors operating, started to open up the economy in level 3, more sectors in level 2, and now in level 1, there are many sectors of the economy operating. There were certain areas of particularly in the creative industries, it was impossible to do anything in those other levels. So level 1 is useful, given between now, end of September, beginning October, to end of March. We need to use this period quite extensively to get every sector of the economy going. To avoid the eventuality of, especially as a province, of that scenario of losing up to 1.5 million jobs. So everything you might have heard about our economic plans is to jumpstart our economy, is to reignite those sectors of the economy that can get us to bring back people into work. And a lot, this includes in areas of the economy is sports, as I say, the creative industries, the sports, arts, and cultural industries, but also some of the sectors, tourism. There's a whole drive, big drive, our province working with national on the big drive to ensure that the tourism and hospitality sector, which, as you know, employs substantial numbers of people in our province and in many parts of the country, but also the sectors such as construction and infrastructure, which couldn't operate fully in the earlier phases. Manufacturing, some of the manufacturing operations are going to need a little more than the time we have now. And most importantly for us, the small businesses in our province, the SMMEs, and in particular the township businesses, which could not operate optimally under the earlier level. So level 1 gives us an opportunity to do that. These are some of the indication of the sectors of the economy in our province, how many jobs were lost in there. Incidentally, agriculture, even in Gauteng, we are not a principally agricultural economy. Agriculture is very small. But even in Gauteng, agriculture has been the only sector that has actually made some gains, job gains. 2,000 jobs in a period where you lose more than 500,000 jobs, creating 2,000 new jobs. 2,000 new jobs can be a very, very big thing in a sector that's not the core sector in the economy. So agriculture has been resilient. You must understand that the Gauteng economy, ours is the high-end agriculture, food production, agro-processing, and as I say, high-end agriculture. We don't have enough of agricultural land, but we take advantage of certain types of agricultural production that is easy to get to the markets. In this particular case, our strength would largely be in the area of fresh vegetables. But agro-processing and packaging, from agro-processing point of view, when the economy was closed, when the borders around South Africa were, most of our packaged food is for export market, especially in the SADC region. So the opening of the borders is also a very important step. Yes, from a risk assessment point of view, you may increase the risk of having more cases coming into our country, coming into our province. But the way our economy works is that the South African economy and the heart of it, and the hub of that which is Gauteng, our economy does not make sense if you take out the network of the SADC region. So the trade and exports of goods and services is what makes our economy tick. So the opening of the borders also give us an opportunity from a trade point of view, but also export of some of our agricultural products, many of which I say are packaged agricultural products that come. Some of them are packaged in Gauteng. It may be tomatoes from ZZ2 coming from Limpopo. It may be some vegetables coming from the Eastern Cape, but packaged here and then exported into the SADC region. So trade is a critical driver of jobs for us. And the relationship between agro-processing and manufacturing comes handy because we are a manufacturing economy. One of Ekurhuleni, if you think of half of the jobs that we say have been lost in Ekurhuleni, because Ekurhuleni is our industrial hub. So if we say we have lost 661,000 jobs, half of those jobs are lost from the Ekurhuleni economy. So we are working extremely hard. A month ago, we did a media briefing here with the mayors. We are working extremely hard with all municipalities. We are meeting every Tuesday with all municipalities in Gauteng through the structures of the Command Council to look at how to revitalize the economy. And at the heart of that, I'll come back to that. At the heart of how to revitalize the economy is what can we do to give small businesses in our province an opportunity and a lease of life. That includes township businesses from that point of view, and working with the major sectors of the economy, the manufacturing sectors of the economy is something that we have been doing. So COVID-19 has had a huge fallout in terms of impact on the economy. It has been severe. It has increased the level of unemployment. It has increased the depth of poverty. The MEC for Social Development, when talking about the measures we have been putting in place to assist those who have no food on the table, the demand for more state support on food relief was not coming from Norway, so it has increased. Our capacity to meet that is limited. I've already spoken about the SMME sector, and we have had a longer process in order to follow the law, and in our country emphasized, even when you want to intervene, you must do it in line with the law. We have a longer process. We have R500 million, a partnership between the Gauteng Provincial Government and the SME Fund, which has mobilized R500 million to help township enterprises, small businesses that have been severely knocked down by COVID-19 in order to help them. But to unlock that money, we have to follow all the legal processes. And unfortunately, it has taken us long. I think this is something personally I'm very unhappy about, but our officials need to do this thing in accordance with the law. Otherwise, they'll end up in jail. That's one thing they know now. If we say we have set aside a fund working in partnership with the private sector, that fund will exceed R1 billion. So far, it's R500 million. It will exceed R1 billion. Our officials in economic development have been working to ensure that this fund is going to really go to the businesses that are deserving and those that are needy, not businesses that are not proper businesses that will only be helped simply because they know someone. But we want that to be done. We are putting a great deal of pressure on our economic development department to ensure that these SMMEs that have had a severe negative impact as a result of COVID-19 get the support. And I'm hoping that this is something that should have been completed by at least July. I'm hoping that during this month of October, our agencies in economic development would complete all the legal requirements. And I want to emphasize the delay is because they have to follow all the legal requirements. I know small businesses, township businesses that speak to me and say, Premier, when is this help coming? We've been waiting. I say to them, we understand that, but if our officials have to follow the law, we don't want them to do shortcuts and then later they end up in jail. So we must find the balance between doing things quickly but doing the right things. And doing things right at the same time. So I think that by the end of the financial year, that is March 2021, we're hoping that we would have given a lease of life to some of the township businesses. One of the things we are also doing, there's a large-scale macro review of the way the regulation of township businesses has been done over decades under apartheid. So this macro review of some of the regulations of township businesses have been about killing them and have been about slowing their growth and making it difficult for them to succeed. As you may remember, in July 2019, I made a commitment at the State of the Province address that we are going to pass a new law to regulate township businesses in a way that's developmental, to make it easier for township people to be able to establish their businesses, to comply, make it easier for them to comply, but assist them also with different type of support, including access to have a township fund. So this bill, the Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill, is out there now. There are comments that are coming through. But one of the things it seeks to do is to really create order. There is lots of chaos about businesses that don't follow any regulation, businesses that sell food, stuff that is expired, that cause lots of problems for our communities. But also there's a problem about those that operate and don't pay any tax. And we want to make sure that those that need to be paying tax will do so. But this Township Economic Development Bill will be a general bylaw that all our municipalities in Gauteng Province, instead of having different regulations in every municipality, and sometimes regulations that don't make sense at all, there will be one bill that cuts across to make it easy to grow the township businesses, to also promote small business development in a developmental and growth-oriented way. That doesn't, as I say, we also want to see in the townships productive sectors of the economy, certain manufacturing activities closer to where people live. And we also want to link the township economy with the major sectors. And this we are already succeeding, by the way. If we were to give you an example of the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. So these special economic zones that are the key drivers of our recovery and reconstruction strategy. Coming out of COVID, you need big interventions. What are some of those interventions? The special economic zones in Gauteng. You saw me 2 weeks ago. I was at the Tshwane Special Economic Zone, which construction is happening, work is happening. The township businesses are being integrated at the core of that special economic zone. From the beginning in the construction phase and right up to when it is going to be operating there, manufacturing new vehicles. We want township businesses owned by black people, women, young people, must be integrated in the mainstream. I saw one of the critiques of the bill, which is a mistaken and misinformed critique, is that it's not linking the small township businesses with the mainstream economy. Now we are doing that through the special economic zones. It is in the special economic zones that we are bringing the township businesses to link up there, and we're getting transnational businesses to partner with them and empower these township businesses that are able to produce produce goods and services in various sectors that these special economic zones are going to be operating. So the Township Economic Development Bill is going to be a very important intervention. Support for the township economy, the R500 million township SMME fund, that 300 million is coming from the private sector, the SME fund, and then 250 million coming from the Gauteng Provincial Government. That is the first phase of support. Going forward, we would like to see this happening at a bigger scale. And again, I want to emphasize that all the economic nodes that are in our plan, such as Lanseria new city development, the Vaal River City, that's the new Vaal River City development, as well as the agro-processing zone in the West Rand, as an agro-processing and logistics hub, and the special economic zone in the Vaal, as well as in Ekurhuleni. Those are the key interventions that are happening now We are working with municipalities and the DTI especially at a national level. So level 1 gives us the opportunity to really go back to the plans we have put in place at the beginning of the year to revitalize the economy, to ensure that there's significant employment creation, but also to get the small business sector, which has been severely hit by COVID-19, to revive. So we are confident that some of the severe impact we could have had about job losses will be mitigated. 6 months from now, by the end of March, we're hoping that these initiatives that we are working also with national government on the infrastructure side to ensure that all the infrastructure projects in Gauteng are happening. So on the economy, yes, we lost more than 500,000 jobs, 661,000 jobs. We are intervening now. It is possible under level 1 to regain strength, to go back to all the economic nodes and the special economic zone initiatives, including the revitalization of the industrial parks in our townships. We are going back to our plan. We are implementing that. And the Tshwane Special Economic Zone is an example of what you can do. It's already creating new jobs in that area for the people of Mamelodi. And that's what we need. This is the message we want to carry. We are in level 1 not for its own sake, but to reignite and revitalize and rebuild and reconstruct our economy. But we can't build the same old economy where black people are left out. We can't go back to the same economy where the townships are left out. We can't go back to that. As we rebuild, we are integrating, and we can't go back to that economy where women businesses are just barely surviving because they are not having this significant and substantial opportunities. So if going forward the key intervention is going to be on the economy, I want to emphasize that we can't afford a surge on COVID-19 infections. We must focus on keeping the infection rate lower and lower and lower and lower. We must focus on ensuring that those who are infected are treated, and fewer people lose the battle against COVID. We need to walk this road simultaneously. So if we lose the battle on COVID-19 and we have a surge, we're going to be forced to slow down interventions on the economy. That's not what we want. We don't want any idea, any suggestion which we see happening elsewhere, especially in Europe, where they go back to closing again. We don't want that, because this gives us an opportunity to bring a lot of our people who have had a tough time, who are barely surviving now, to bring them back into the economy, to give them opportunities to earn income for themselves. So if that's one route we must be walking, we must defend the gains we have made. So the presentations by the COO of Health, who's now the acting CEO, Malotane, that presentation, those numbers. So where there are regions and sub-districts where we see new infections happening, we must rush there, intervene decisively, because if we don't...
18 minutes past 12 o'clock, unfortunately, we're going to cross out of that briefing then with the Premier of Gauteng there, Mr. David Makhura.